The mainstream media, I think, have done an abysmal job of reporting on the events of 9/11, on peak oil, and other things that really impact our lives. I mean, the average person knows much more about the personal habits of Brad Pitt than they know about peak oil and what's going to affect their life in the near future. I mean, if they don't have food to eat, if they don't have a job, that's something they need to know about beforehand. That's something they need to prepare for. And peak oil is the event of our lifetimes. It's going to dwarf anything that any of us has experienced in our lives up to this point. And yet we're told virtually nothing about it. Same thing with 9/11. I mean, here was the great political event, so-called terrorist event of our lifetimes. The world has changed profoundly as a result of it, and yet there's absolutely no real investigative reporting about it in the mainstream media. Instead, we have a lot of very courageous, independent investigative journalists who find it impossible to get their work published in the mainstream. It's a disastrous situation. I personally believe that there is a deep relationship between the events of 9/11 and peak oil, but it's not something I can prove. There's a lot of circumstantial bits and pieces that when you add them up together paint a pretty persuasive picture, I think. The CIA's been studying the phenomenon of oil peaks since the 1970s. And Dick Cheney, former CEO of Halliburton, the world's foremost oil services company, has talked about the difficulty that the oil industry will have in meeting demand by the end of the first decade of the 21st century. Now, what happened after 9/11? Well, of course, the U.S. invaded Afghanistan and used that occasion to build military bases throughout the region of Central Asia, which is the new oil production region. Lots of new oil discoveries there in, coincidentally, 2000 to 2001. And then to invade Iraq, one can't help but see a pattern here. It seems evident to me that 9/11 was in effect a kind of pretext for the U.S. to expand its military hold on the two most important oil-producing regions of the planet.